Hey, are you ready to start growing your own vegetables this year? If you're ready for the gardening season, like I'm ready for the gardening season, you really want to stay tuned and watch this video all about vegetable gardening ideas. It's going to apply to you whether you live in a house, an apartment, wherever you live, as long as you can get a container or grow in the ground, you're going to love these ideas. Stay tuned. Hey guys, this is Sheri Ann Richerson from experimentalhomesteader.com, and as I promised, this is the first of a new series of videos that I'm going to be doing that deal with gardening, cooking, crafting, lots of homesteading topics. So the first one is going to be on vegetable gardening ideas, and I'm really excited about this. I hope you are too, because you're going to want to hear this, especially if you grow vegetables. Lots of ways. If you want to grow vegetables but think you don't have the space, stay tuned too, because I'm going to give you some tips. Okay, our blog post today that I'm going to show you in just a little bit is on Vegetable Gardening Ideas Roundup, and it's a roundup of various articles that I have wrote over the years on vegetable gardening. And I'm also going to tell you about two books here in just a moment that I have either written or co-written. But first I want to go over the types of vegetable gardens we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about container gardens, raised bed gardens, window boxes, because yes, you can grow vegetables in window boxes. You'll be amazed at this. There is in-ground. Of course, there is vertical or hanging, because you can grow a lot of vegetables vertically or in the hanging bags or hanging containers that they sell now. And then there is hydroponics and aquaponics, which is a little more complicated for some people and something that not a lot of people might want to do, but some of us do. So next I'm going to tell you about two books that I have written, or co-written as I said, that are very good on just basic gardening information. These pertain to vegetable gardens as well as flower gardens. So the first one is the Complete Idiot's Guide to Year-Round Gardening. Okay, and this has so much good information in it. Everything that you need to know to be able to grow indoors or outdoors 12 months of the year, and I'm not even kidding you. This is definitely the book that you want if you want to be able to grow vegetables outdoors, even in the colder months. I live in Indiana. That's a USDA Zone 5-6. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, the other book that you're going to want is The Complete Idiot's Guide to Seed Saving and Starting. Now, this book is all about starting seeds, growing those seeds on, and being able to save those seeds, both flowers and vegetables, again. Okay, it is not, long-term doomsday storage, but it is basically storing them from year to year. There are charts in here that tell you how to store the seeds, how to save the seeds. I have started over 5,000 different types of seeds myself and grown them on into big plants. Of course, not all of them. I did lose some along the way, but the germination experience and stuff I have. So now we're going to get into the Vegetable Garden Ideas Roundup. Okay, the first way that you can grow vegetables in your home garden or your apartment, balcony, even indoors if you want to go into grow lights, is in a container. Now, there are all kinds of different containers out there, and you don't have to have the prettiest looking pot. You don't even have to have a pot, okay? Anything that will hold soil and allow for drainage can be used for a container. Some people use old shoes. Now, I don't think I would like that idea, but some people do. Some people use tires, which is really not a good idea because there are chemicals in those tires, and those chemicals can break down and be taken up by your vegetables' roots, and then you're eating them. So even though people do it, not a real good idea. I have used, because a friend got them and passed them on to me, food grade buckets that we got from the deli at our local Meijer store. And we put holes, she put holes in the bottom of them and filled them with soil, a good organic soil, and planted tomatoes. I believe that she grew zucchinis in those, lots of different plants. When I got them, I grew some tomatoes in them. I don't think I did any vines or anything like that, just because I didn't want to. But I basically used them for my overflow, which was the extra plants I had started from seed or that I went and bought from a nursery that I didn't have room for in the ground. So that was really great. It made it really easy to bring them inside when the garden season was up. I've grown ginger in them. I've grown peanuts in them. Lots of different, things. She did get 5-gallon buckets, so she got the larger ones, but they were free. So all she had to worry with was the soil. I have grown vegetables in those cute little ornamental ducks and things that you get around Mother's Day in garden centers. So really anything that is clean, that is not going to leach chemicals, even burlap bags. Okay, you may have some soil leakage from those initially, but that should work its way out. Just be careful how you water so you don't wash all the soil back out of those. But many ideas that you can use depending on if you're growing indoors or outdoors. And, because indoors you're obviously not going to want a burlap bag because you're going to have water everywhere. But if you're growing outdoors, you can get by with that. The next method is a raised bed garden, and I love raised bed gardens for multiple reasons. I encourage you, if you're going to do this, get untreated wood. I know it's going to break down, but you're not going to have the chemical issue, and you really don't want chemicals around your vegetables. I have also made raised beds out of bricks. I have made them out of concrete blocks. Many different materials that you can use, and you just build your bed to the size you want it, fill it with soil, and plant inside. Now here's what I've learned. You really don't want the width of your bed more than about 2.5 feet wide, because if you go further than that, you're not going to be able to easily reach into the center. And I have tried beds wider thinking I would do things like potatoes and stuff in them, and then I just dig them out. Didn't work. Because when I wanted to rotate crops, guess what I had? And I was stepping in those beds to get to things in the center, or I was wasting space, and I didn't want to do that. You do not want to step in your raised beds because that compacts the soil, and that is exactly what you don't want to do. I encourage you to use a good organic soil if you're going to go with raised beds. Sometimes you can go to gravel pits or other places and you can get a soil mixture. Now, it's not going to be certified organic, so you want to ask what's in that. But our local gravel pit has a sandy garden soil that I absolutely love. It grows the nicest plants, and it is loose enough that the roots can get through. If I get a weed in it, it's easy to pull out. So do look around. Like I said, ask what's in the soil if it doesn't say organic, because you want to know that. You can top dress your soil with 3 inches of compost every year, and you want to do that too, because that's going to add that organic matter back in and really help your soil. You're going to need to probably use a fertilizer with a raised bed because the nutrients are going to leach out. Use an organic fertilizer. I like fish emulsion, although I admit it does make my yard smell, well, fishy. There's just no other way to say it. But you know what? That's okay. I can deal with it. I live in the county. Do my neighbors complain? Once in a while, but usually they don't smell it because I have enough space around me. And I don't do my whole yard at once. I learned that lesson once because that really puts that fish smell in the air. So, I limit how much I do that. Let's see. The next type is a window box. And as I said, you can grow vegetables in a window box. You need to look for vegetables both with a window box and with the container gardens, but more so with the window boxes that are bred to be grown in containers. There are tomatoes, there are cucumbers, all kinds of vegetables that are suitable for window box growing. Lettuce you shouldn't have any problem with no matter what kind you buy because it's, you know, pretty compact. I have even grown corn in a container, not a window box, but a container. It was a special brand of corn that was bred to be in the container, and it was not a GMO or genetically modified organism. I do not grow those at all. All of my seeds are heirloom seeds. You know, they are non-GMO because that is really important to me. I want to be able to save my seeds from year to year because saving your own seeds means that those seeds have adapted to your climate. They have adapted to the pest in your area, you know, all the little things that are specific to your area. You know, did you have a drought? Did you have a lot of rain? You know, what pests really get in your garden and bother it? And they build that up, and that's a resistance. And when you plant those seeds the next year, those seeds are going to outperform anything that you can buy. Absolutely anything, because they have adapted to your garden conditions. And when you save seeds from those and you plant them the next year, you're going to keep seeing the difference. You really are. It is worth taking the time to save your own seeds. It's not that hard. Everything you need to know about that is in my book, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Seed Saving and Starting. And like I said, you want to ask me questions? Ask me questions. I am available to you to try to help you because that is my mission and my goal, to help others be successful with their gardening. That is important to me, okay? All right, and the next way to grow, which may be one of the more common ways that people are more familiar with, is in ground. If you have a way to grow your vegetables in ground, that's great. Okay, I do. I have 2.5 acres, so I can grow in ground, but I still have stuff in containers. I still have raised beds. I still do window boxes. You know, I still have vertical plants that grow upward. I have those hanging containers where my tomatoes and peppers can hang out of the bottom of it. I do hydroponics and aquaponics. I grow in straw bales, which is another way. You can ask me about that if you want, but yes, you can set up some straw bales. You can put some fertilizer in them. There's a specific ratio here, so do ask if you're interested. And you water those down, and then you plant your vegetables in them. Watermelons do great that way. That was my biggest success with watermelons, was growing them in straw bales. And at the end of the season, when those straw bales break down, just cut those twines, pull them out, and sprinkle that on your ground, and it's going to create a weed control barrier and put organic matter right back in your ground. So anyway, back to the in-ground gardening. You can grow almost anything in ground. Now, some things like rice, they're going to need a flood drain. So you're going to have to figure out how to set that up. But in ground, I mean, depending on your space, I do square foot gardening. And Jeffrey has made me a little 12 by 12 wooden square that I can set down on the ground. And then I can figure out how many holes I need in it. And for the amount, for the type of seeds, like a tomato, you'd only plant one tomato in a 12 by 12 foot area. But I'm trying to think, I know there's one vegetable, and I don't want to say in case it has slipped my mind, but there's one that you can plant as many as 16 seed in that 12 foot by 12 foot area and grow 16 plants in that small of an area. So it's a great way if you have a small garden area that you can still have a vegetable garden, conserve your space. And like I said, even on 2.5 acres, I do it because I want to get the most production from the area that I'm planting, not only so I have food to eat and can, but so I can donate and share the bounty with others. Okay, the next method is the vertical or hanging garden. Now, I do a lot of vertical gardening with my in-ground, especially my green beans. And I don't spend a lot of money doing this. I buy those cheap 6-foot bamboo poles, you know, the little tiny ones that come like 25 to a packet or something. And I put those in the ground maybe every 3-4 feet. And then I use yarn and I make my strings back and forth, and I just keep circling, and my green beans grow up. And I'm going to tell you why I do that. My green beans stay cleaner because they're climbing. I believe that they grow longer because they get more sunshine. I believe I get an increased production because of the increased sunshine. They are easier to pick, and frankly, I have less pest problems. So it works really great. I do peas vertically. I do cucumbers vertically. You know, a skein of yarn is not that expensive if you think about it in comparison to other items that you might buy. I also look at the end of season sales for some of those nets that are actually made for gardening, and I will buy those from time to time and just use them until they start to break down and get yucky. If you have a small garden area, vertical gardening is the way to go. It's going to maximize your production without taking up a lot of space. And it's going to keep you from having to squat down on the ground quite so much, which is great if you have mobility problems, okay? The next option is your hydroponics or aquaponics. Now, I have done both. I like both. You can really get some production out of it, and again, in a limited area. My aquaponic experience was with a 10-gallon fish tank, and I had one little, it was a plastic container, one of those that go under your bed, that I took the lid off of, and I filled with the clay pebbles that you get for the hydroponic units. I grew the biggest tomato that I have ever grown in my life. That thing went clear up to the roof of my greenhouse and was actually coming over. So it had to be a good 6 feet tall or better. I mean, it was just going everywhere. I had 3 of those tomatoes in that little container. I had some basil plants. I know I had some other miscellaneous herbs in there, and everything grew like complete gangbusters. I had some tilapia in the bottom. Now, unfortunately, we had a failure and I lost my tilapia, so I never got to eat those. But I have 2 250-gallon tanks sitting out in the bigger greenhouse that I'm hoping eventually to get turned into larger aquaponic units, because I love the idea of growing my fish, or raising my fish and growing my vegetables on top and making it very sustainable by the method that this use. I have also done hydroponics, like I said. I guess I don't like the hydroponics as well as I like the aquaponics. Hydroponics is okay, and it does recycle the water. You do have to test the pH with both of these methods. But I felt like I got a better production of vegetables from the aquaponics. And, I'm sure that was the fish poop. I mean, there was plenty of it. So, but there are so many vegetable garden ideas. And one thing that I like to teach people about when I give classes is to take a pot, put a tomato in the center. You can grow lettuce around the edges. You can put some radish seed in there, and you've got your whole salad, because that tomato is going to shade the lettuce and the radish just enough that it's possibly going to keep it from bolting. You can put a basil plant in there. You could even plant a cucumber and let it just trail over the edge if you had the room. So, many things you can do if you think about it, but you do need to do your research. You need to know what size of container for the type of plant that you're going to grow. And there is just a ton of information available. And like I said, you can always ask me. So now I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to show you the roundup post of vegetable garden ideas that I did. Okay, so this is my website, experimentalhomesteader.com. And as you can see, when you come to my front page, right here, Vegetable Garden Ideas Roundup Post, Exotic Gardening Thoughts. So you can click up here, or you can click down here. It doesn't really matter, because it's going to take you to this page right here. And it's going to give you a little bit more information. And then you can click here, and it's going to take you straight over to the article, okay, which is right here. Okay, and as you can see, these are all different articles that I have. The top ones are just some general articles on vegetable gardening. I have a bunch of articles here for spring vegetable gardening, summer vegetable gardening, fall vegetable gardening, and winter vegetable gardening. So you can click on any of these and it will take you right over to that specific article. Okay, another way that you can get here, if you don't want to go through all that clicking, when you get to experimentalhomesteader.com, you can come right down here to Exotic Gardening Thoughts, click it. You're going to be right here, and then you can click either place, and there you go. Okay. The exact URL of Exotic Gardening, of Exotic Gardening Thoughts, is experimentalhomesteader.com/EX. Okay, and this is the actual full URL. I don't know that you can see that, but let me see if I can try to zoom it in for those of you that might want to. Oh, wow. Okay, that definitely did not work so well. Okay, there we go. All right. So as I said, this is the article. And tomorrow I will be having something up on food preservation, because I do write an article and publish it at 3 p.m. every day, 7 days a week. So as I said, you can, I have Eat Better, Save Money by Growing a Garden, Save Money, Harvest Free Vegetables Year-Round in Any Climate, some of your spring topics, Frost Protection, and this is going to help you get going early, spring garden planting tips, the 10 easiest vegetables to grow from seed, cool season vegetables. I have seed starting articles. So really everything that you need to know, there's a little bit of information on, and as I said, I'm always available for questions. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with more wonderful, informative videos. Have a great night.